direct at Mr. Rights Activist, and he's also a lawyer to the family of a veteran Nollywood actor, Chinwetalu Agu. Mr. Effiong, we thank you so much for joining us this Tuesday afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this entire chat is streaming live on our Facebook page. And after the program, the video will be available. You can go back, watch it, share and like. And feel free to send in any questions which we could direct at Mr. Effiong. All right, Barrister Effiong. So, what is the update on Chinwetalu Agu, the Nollywood actor who was arrested on October 7th by Nigerian Army for wearing Biafra outfit?
At this moment that I'm speaking to you, neither me as counsel to the veteran actor, celebrated comedian, movie producer, and social crusader have been given access to him. He has not had the opportunity of seeing his wife, his children, or indeed any member of his family. He has also not been given the opportunity to see his medical doctor, despite what has been made known to him to be the state of his health, which necessitates that not only should he has or be given unfettered access to his immediate family at least, but also to his medical practitioner of his choice, and also to lawyers of his choice. None of that has happened. So by this moment, we are still in the dark. I can also confirm to you that we have made efforts to have access to him, which has not yielded results. When he was arrested by the Nigerian Army in a very draconian manner and subjected to gross humiliation, they took him into their custody. In the first place, the military had no business arresting him because the military is not a civil authority. The military is supposed to be the highest institution of state monopoly of violence. That is, the military is the pinnacle when the state wants to show that it has monopoly of violence. So the military ought to be deployed strictly for the purpose of maintaining the territorial integrity of Nigeria as guaranteed as stated under Section 217 of the Constitution. But the military, in flagrant disregard to his mandate, had a civilian arrested for reasons that they are yet to tell us, because the reasons that they have adduced publicly are neither tenable in law nor convincing in facts. So we are still waiting for the Nigerian government to tell us what he has done. The point I want to make is that after he was taken into military custody illegally, there were some reports, misleading reports, that he had been released. But shortly thereafter, it came to our attention that he had been taken into the custody of the State Security Service, SSS. The family went to the SSS facility in Enugu on the 8th and made spirited efforts to see him. But they were returned back and asked to go to their headquarters in Abuja. So as I speak to you, I have delegated some of my colleagues who are working on this case with me to proceed again to the SSS headquarters in Abuja with the hope of having access to him. We are also writing to the DG of the SSS that we should be given access to our clients and that his rights should be respected. At this moment, my client is being treated as a convict, is being treated as a common criminal, is being treated as an outlaw, contrary to his right to presumption of innocence under Section 36, subsection 5 of the Constitution, contrary to his right to dignity of the human person under Section 24 of the Constitution, contrary to his right to personal liberty, which requires that he should be brought before a court within 24 hours. He has been detained since the 7th till today without being arraigned before any court of competent jurisdiction, or without being told what exactly his offense is. Because the allegation, as I said, that the army has leveled against him are very whimsical to us. We have examined it. We do not find any merit to it. We do not find truth in that allegation. He's not involved in Ipob activities. He has no manner or sort of association with Eastern Security Network. He is just a private Nigerian citizen who, goes about his business without infringing on any law. So why they are still keeping him in custody remains a mystery to us.
Yeah, but the Nigerian army said that he was inciting people and he was soliciting support for Ipob. He wore the Biafra outfit and was sharing food to some people. That's around Upper Iweka in Onitsha area of Anambra State. So they said, given the political climate and the security volatility of Anambra State, he shouldn't have been there at all, much less even wearing the outfit. So isn't wearing the Biafra outfit, is it not in a way inciting members of the public, given that just a few weeks ago, Dora Akunyili's husband was killed in that same state? And also, that Ipob has said no elections next month.
For me, I believe there is mischaracterization of the facts of this case by the army. But I want to caution that we should take the words of the Nigerian army with a pinch of salt. As you rightly said, it is the Nigerian army that we are talking about. The same army that denied firing live bullets at Lekki Toll Gate. The same army that denied killing Ipob members despite contrary evidence. The same army that denied killing the Shiites in Kanu under the former chief of army staff, when subsequently the Judicial Commission of Inquiry by the Kaduna State Governor revealed that over 300 members of the Islamic movement of Nigeria were slaughtered. It is the same Nigerian army that has not been able to account for funds allotted for buying weapons to fight insurgency. I am not saying that I do not support the Nigerian army. I am just saying that when you have an institution that has consistently pinched itself against the interests of the citizens, that have consistently stood against the truth, one has to be very careful in taking whatever they say, the way they have said it. But let us dwell on the issues. What are the issues? For them to say that he wore Ipob clothes is very funny to me, because to begin with, there's a distinction between Ipob and Biafra. So if they are saying that he put on a Biafran outfit, which for me is neither here nor there, because I have made the point that yes, Ipob was proscribed. My client is not a member of Ipob. He has never solicited for Ipob. He has never worked for Ipob. There is no evidence that he has attended any gathering of Ipob. There is no evidence that he has taken part in the activities of Ipob. So for them to say that him identifying with a color similar to that of the Biafra amounts to an incitement, it's very funny, because Biafra is an idea. You cannot proscribe an idea. There is a distinction in law and in fact between Ipob and Biafra, because Biafra precedes Ipob. You cannot say because we have proscribed Ipob, therefore anything that has semblance to Biafra is also proscribed. That cannot be correct. In any event, there was nothing written on the clothes that he wore, telling people to take up arms, telling people to burn police stations, telling people to engage in any form of insurgency. So when they speak about incitement, they are just engaging in semantical duplicity. There is clearly no evidence of incitement. Nobody was incited. There is no evidence that anybody took up arms or indulged in crime on account of the clothes that he put on. The man was just sharing bread to poor Nigerians. He didn't commit any offense. So for them to speak about incitement, it amounts to an abuse of language. You cannot say somebody who is wearing a clothes whose color you find offensive have incited the public, because the law cannot regulate what color of clothes people should put on. And if they are saying that this is a symbol of a proscribed organization, that is also debatable. One, is not a member of that organization. Secondly, that color cannot be personalized to that organization, because that color precedes the existence of that organization. It is a color that I can choose to combine. You cannot criminalize that. There has to be some overt acts, some traceable evidence that this man had any involvement in activities that are inimical to the security of the state. And at this moment, there is no evidence of that. So that is why I made the point that if the military has a movie role for this legendary actor, they should have approached him with courtesy and respect Because they have turned this to a comical show for you to arrest a citizen on account of wearing a cloth whose color you are offended by. It is untenable. This shouldn't happen in any civilized country, which is why we are calling for his immediate and unconditional release.
Okay, in 2019, journalist and activist Chido Onuma, he was at the airport when he was wearing a shirt actually which read "We are all Biafrans," and he was, well, detained briefly by the SSS, although the SSS says he was only cautioned and all that. It was not as if he was detained like that for wearing that shirt. And they've said it time without number that shirt, anything Biafra promotes disunity, you know, among Nigerians. That's what they say. So shouldn't your clients have stayed away from anything that evokes or, you know, brings memories of issues that divide Nigeria? Shouldn't he have just stayed away from this Biafra issue completely?
As I've rightly said, there is no evidence on record that my client has gone out to tell people that he's fighting for Biafra as an independent country. What they are saying is that the clothes that they put on is similar to the Biafran flag or is the Biafran color. And I've said that that is a ridiculous thing to say. But regarding your question, my response is that the person who should be desist from engaging in activities that divide the country are people who actually are in positions of power. They are the ones that are polarizing the country. When you have, since they have admitted that Biafra is still something that is still existent in the minds of the people, you cannot delete something that people have in their mind through military activity or deployment. You cannot say that because Biafra was once a de facto state that was involved in a 30 months or so civil war with the Nigerian government, therefore any mention of Biafra amounts to a crime. That would be very ridiculous to say, because you cannot criminalize that expression. Do not forget that even those who are fighting for Biafra, they have the right to self-determination, recognized under the African Charter on Human and People's Rights Ratification and Enforcement Act, which is a Nigerian legislation. You cannot say that if I say today that I want to leave Nigeria, that republic, that I committed any offense. As long as I am peaceful, as long as I do not take the laws into my hands, as long as I am not associated with any act of violence, you cannot criminalize that. This is a right that a Nigerian law has recognized. But this is not even applicable to my clients at this moment because they have not brought any evidence. There is no any evidence that I speak to you that this legendary actor is involved in this thing that they are talking about. The truth of the matter is that it's not involved in the thing they are talking about. As far as we are concerned, the allegations are just an attempt, to call a dog a bad name in order to hang him. That is what it is. You said earlier that it's the right of the people to determine, or to agitate for self-determination. The president has said countless times that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable. So how you say that people should have such a right when the president has already said, he has said that the unity of Nigeria is non-negotiable? Doesn't it then mean that anything anybody is doing, any form of agitation is unacceptable to the government? It may be unacceptable to the president, but it is not unacceptable to the law. And in a constitutional democracy, the words of the president is not law. The words of the president does not have force of law. It is his opinion to which he is entitled to. I am also entitled to my opinion. My client is also entitled to his opinion. All Nigerians, including you, you are entitled to your opinion. Buhari is entitled to his opinion. And Buhari will leave office with his opinion, but the constitution will remain. And I have told you that under the law, in fact, under section 29 of the constitution, I have the right to renounce my citizenship. I can write to Buhari today and say, I no longer want to be a Nigerian. That is a right that is recognized under our constitution. So when Buhari said that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable, he's just speaking based on his opinion. The only thing that is not negotiable is life and death. Death is the only thing that is not negotiable. Even the constitution is negotiable. That is why you have section 8 and section 9 that prescribes the procedure for amending the constitution. So if people say they are aggrieved that there is no provision for a referendum, for example, they have the right to say that they got provision, that the constitution should be amended to allow for a referendum. There is nothing that is not negotiable in life except death, because all of us will test it one day. But here is the point. It is problematic that we claim to live in a democracy, and you will have people being arrested, people being targeted, people being killed because they have gone contrary to the West, the feelings and opinion of the president. What that implies is that they are now turning Nigeria into a police state. They are now keeping us at par with North Korea, with communist China, or with Russia, where you have emperors who are in power, where the words of heads of states are law. But this is Nigeria, a country that is supposed to be governed by the constitution. And in a constitutional democracy, the words of the president is what they are. They are his words, they are his opinion, they are his feelings. It does not translate to law. So if they are saying that my client has gone against the words of the president, they should take him to court. Let the court determine whether contravening the words of a president amounts to a violation of the law. Because under Section 36, subsection 8 and subsection 12, no act, conduct, or omission is a crime for which somebody can be convicted, except that act or conduct is expressly provided under a written law as an offense. So as I speak to you, there is no conduct, there is no act, there is no omission or infraction committed by my clients that have contravened any written law in Nigeria.
Okay, so he's been in custody for about 5 days now. If the DSS does not arraign him or they don't release him, what then are you going to do? What's going to be the next step? I
can assure you that machineries are already in place to have his rights enforced. I may not go into the details of that. I've also indicated to you that we have made and we are continuing to make, and we will continue to make spirited efforts to have access to him. I do not understand why a man who is a national figure, a celebrated actor, somebody that has contributed to the economy of this country through the entertainment industry, somebody that should be seen as the pride of Africa. This is the man that I grew up and married because of his legendary role in Nigerian movies. This is somebody that should be treated as a statesman, but he's being denigrated, he's being embarrassed by his own country, he's being treated as a second-class citizen. Why? Because he wore a clothes that some soldiers who had no business being arresting him were not comfortable with. But here is the question. Why was the military even involved in this? Why did they have to force him to sit on the floor? Why did they have to humiliate him? You cannot claim that somebody has violated a law and you now resort to violating the law in the process of addressing what that person has done. If this is a government that says that they want to uphold the law, that they want to protect the sanctity of the law, they must follow due process. They must follow constitutional safeguards in arresting people and treating people who are still presumed innocent. This man is innocent. He has not done anything. He has not committed any offense to warrant the humiliation, to warrant the embarrassment that he has been subjected to. And guess what? We now have under a regime where terrorists called bandits are being given amnesty, are seen standing with Nigerian governors, like the Katsina state governor, who was seen standing with AK-47 wielding terrorists, speaking with them. Those terrorists were not shot or killed. You have a regime where Boko Haram that has killed thousands of Nigerians, rendered people homeless, destroyed properties, is being purportedly reintegrated in the name of reintegration, in the name of de-radicalization. They are being brought to this table to dine with the government. Those are the people that the government is treating with kid gloves. Yet, you have a respected Nigerian, you have a legend, somebody who has distinguished himself in his career, somebody who has brought pride to Nollywood, to this country, being humiliated simply because he's Igbo. This amounts to ethnic profiling, as far as I'm concerned. Because what they are saying is that if I wear a cloth tomorrow and say Niger Delta Republic, I can also be treated in the same manner. If you wear a cloth to say and identify with the Ruwa Republic, you can also be treated in the same manner. But you have Mayati Allah. You have other separatist groups that are dining with the government. You even have Shegumi calling for amnesty, telling Nigerians to live peaceably with them. Shegumi is not in DSS custody. He's not. It is my client who is being haunted. For what? For reasons that they are yet to disclose to us. And you are still saying that the unity of Nigeria is not negotiable. So here is the point. We will take all steps necessary within the law to ensure that his rights are respected and that he's released from custody.
Okay, as we wind down, this month makes it 1 year of the NSAS protests. I know that you featured prominently in the NSAS protests last year. The Lagos State government has said no protests. They're not going to allow any protests again in order to prevent what's it called now? A breakdown in law and order. As they said last year, the NSAS protests were hijacked. So Lagos State is yet to recover from all the losses that were incurred. So no more protests. Is this legal? This ban on protests by the police?
The statement of the Commissioner of Police is very, very condemnable. What he's telling us is that he's taking Nigerians for granted. Because why did NSAS happen? NSAS happened because Nigerians, especially young Nigerians, were fed up with police impunity, with extrajudicial killing, extortion, corruption, and the decadence in the police. That was why NSAS happened. Because the police had no respect for the rights of Nigerians, including the right to freedom of association, guaranteed under the Constitution, Section 40, and the right to freedom of expression, guaranteed under Section 39 of the Constitution. These were the reasons why people protested, including myself. So when you have a commissioner of police after NSAS, still speaking in a SARS language, still speaking in a militant language, threatening fire and brimstone, that if people come out to protest peacefully, is going to deal with them. That is not a democracy, because guess what? Even if we have intelligence, as they always claim falsely, that hoodlums, which are usually sponsored by the government, will hijack the protest, the law is that he cannot disrupt that protest. It is his responsibility to go to that protest and protect the protesters. And this was the point that I argued and won successfully. In the case of Charles Suputa, alias Charlie Boy, versus the Inspector General of Police, where Charlie Boy led the resume and resign protest in Abuja after Buhari had spent close to 3 months in London on account of his ill health. And he was targeted, he was tear gassed, his rights were violated, and I went to court. The police came with this same frivolous argument that they have intelligence report that hoodlums will hijack the protest, that there could be breakdown of law and order. The court said you are wrong. That was a judgment delivered by the current Chief Judge of the Federal High Court, Honorable Justice So. And the judge, the noble judge, held courageously that you cannot disrupt a protest because you believe there will be breakdown of law and order. It is your responsibility to ensure that the law does not break down. It is your responsibility to protect those who are protesting peacefully. So what the police is supposed to do, and this is also recognized under the Electoral Act, I think Section 90 or Section 91, as amended in 2015, where the National Assembly clearly said in that amendment that the role of law enforcement agencies, including the police, shall be limited to provision of security to protesters. This is the right that the Court of Appeal had also recognized in the case of Inspector General of Police and All Nigerian People Party, where Buhari was tear gas after the 2003 presidential election. And Mr. Femi Falana went to court, and the court held that Nigerians do not require the permit of the police to protest. So after we have defeated the police in court, in a constitutional democracy, they are supposed to abide by the rule of law. But you have the police becoming the law disobedience agency instead of the law enforcement agency. The police is now still engaging in this act of impunity, telling Nigerians when to protest and when not to protest. So I am restating to you that under the law today, the police has no right whatsoever to say that people should not protest, even when they believe magically that hoodlums created by the government, as we saw during the NSAS, will hijack the protest. So my position is that what the Commissioner of Police has said is condemnable. It should be withdrawn, and it should retract it. And those who want to protest peacefully have the right to do so, and they also have the right to disregard what the Commissioner of Police has said. They cannot be defeated in court over this same issue, and they still come out publicly to deceive Nigerians, to still insist on violating the rights of those who are protesting peacefully. This is supposed to be a democracy. And if this is a democracy, the government, institutions of government, law enforcement agencies must, I say must, abide by the rule of law and by Chapter 4 of the Constitution that has guaranteed Nigerians fundamental rights.
Thank you very much. We've been chatting with Barrister Inibehe F. Young, a lawyer to Nollywood veteran actor Chinwetalu Agu, who has remained in custody for the last 5 days. Spoken to us about his inability to reach him and other trending issues, including the police proclamation that NSAS protests will not be permitted again. We thank you so much, Barrister F. Young, for joining us this Tuesday afternoon at a very short notice. As I stated earlier this entire episode streamed live on Facebook. It's still on our Facebook page. You can go back there, like, share, and comment. Thank you so much. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of Punch Live. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Rights activist, and is also a lawyer to the family of a veteran Nollywood actor, Chinwetalu Agu. Mr. Effiong, we thank you so much for joining us this Tuesday afternoon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Thank you for having me.
Yes, this entire chat is streaming live on our Facebook page. And after the program, the video will be available. You can go back, watch it, share and like. And feel free to send in any questions which we could direct at Mr. F. Young. All right, Barrister F. Young. So, what is the update on Chinwetalu Agu, the Nollywood actor who was arrested on October 7th by Nigerian Army for wearing Biafra outfit?
At this moment that I'm speaking to you, neither me as counsel to the veteran actor, celebrated comedian, movie producer, and social crusader have been given access to him. He has not had the opportunity of seeing his wife, his children, or indeed any member of his family. He has also not been given the opportunity to see his medical doctor, despite what has been made known to him to be the state of his health, which necessitates that not only should he has or be given unfettered access to his immediate family at least, but also to his medical practitioner of his choice, and also to lawyers of his choice. None of that has happened. So by this moment,